Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence.
Here are today's top headlines. GM axes the Vuick for all the right reasons. Penske turns to eBay to sell used trucks. And we introduce you to the most unlikely executive to ever run Cadillac. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Thursday, August 20th, 2009, and now a look at the latest in the auto industry. Just 2 weeks ago, General Motors announced it was coming out with a plug-in Buick crossover next year. Yesterday, GM announced it ain't gonna happen. Based on feedback from the media and consumers who saw the vehicle, GM decided to axe it. You know, it was pretty bland looking. Remember, GM was supposed to come out with a plug-in version of the Saturn Vue. But when it decided to sell off Saturn, it figured it could make a Buick version of the Vue simply by slapping a Buick grille on the front end. On the blogosphere, it quickly became known as the Vuick. But GM isn't going to throw that plug-in technology away, so that means it will show up on the other crossovers that share that architecture: the Cadillac SRX, the GMC Terrain, and the Chevrolet Equinox. Which of these brands do you think should be the first to get the plug-in technology? You know, I've seen the other Buicks that are coming, and personally, I think they're playing it way too conservatively. Buick should have bold designs with sweeping curves and lines. The Buicks that are on the way are nice, but they're not bold. Plus, Buick can't make up its mind as to whether all its vehicles should have portholes or only some of them. And should the portholes be on the hood or the front fenders? It seems to be all over the map. And Buick will only make a comeback if these issues get resolved. But I must say bravo to the new GM for having the guts to cancel a program it only announced 2 weeks ago. The old GM would have ignored the criticism and just tried to shove it down our throats. Last week, GM announced it will start selling new cars on eBay, and now Penske Truck Leasing says it's going to start selling used trucks on eBay. According to the AP, buyers will be able to bid on all kinds of vehicles ranging from utility trucks to buses and sedans. The company will also offer financing options to buyers through the auction site, but you can check it out at PenskeUsedTrucks.com. It was just a few years ago when big warranties were the latest marketing rage for car companies. Hyundai started it and a bunch of others jumped on board. But now Chrysler will stop offering lifetime powertrain warranties and go with 5-year, 100,000-mile warranties instead. According to the AP, Chrysler claims market research shows people prefer warranties with a fixed amount of time, not unlimited. Yeah, right. I guarantee you the reason they cut back was due to cost. The SRT and Viper models, which were excluded from the lifetime warranty, are included in the new warranty, but not the diesels in the Sprinter or the Ram pickup. Well, nobody here wanted them, so maybe the Chinese will. According to Gasgoo.com, Chrysler's new owner, Fiat, has partnered with Chinese automaker Guangzhou to start building the Jeep Compass later this year in China. Interestingly, the only other market in the world where the Compass sells well? Italy. Maybe that's why Fiat sees hope for the Compass in China. The Detroit News reports that roughly 5 million vehicles in the U.S. are excluded from the Cash for Clunkers program. Lobbyists for car collectors and antique part suppliers persuaded the government to exclude vehicles that were built before 1984 because they didn't want them destroyed or the number of used auto parts to be limited. SEMA, the Specialty Equipment Market Association, which represents more than 7,000 aftermarket auto parts makers, was a driving force behind the loophole. Too bad there's no moron provision. The Associated Press reports that a man in Colorado traded in a near-mint condition 1985 Maserati Biturbo with less than 19,000 miles on it. Yeah, it qualifies as a clunker. He bought a new Subaru. Coming up next, we'll introduce you to the guy who's now going to run Cadillac, who has the most unusual background of anyone who's ever held that position.
Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry.
Bridgestone.
12 years ago, I met Bryan Nesbitt, a hot young designer at Chrysler who caught everyone's attention by designing the PT Cruiser and a number of other concept cars. When Bob Lutz joined General Motors, he hired Nesbitt as soon as he could and put him in charge of the Chevrolet studio. He was quickly promoted to head of design for all front-drive cars at GM, then moved to head up design at GM of Europe. But now, in a highly unusual move, Bryan Nesbitt was named to run all of Cadillac, the first time a designer has ever run one of GM's brands, which, when I got a chance to catch up with him, was the first thing I asked him about. Brian, everyone's asked you this. A designer running a car division? What's that all about?
Well, it was a flattering opportunity, obviously, and quite exciting. But, you know, there's designers wear a lot of marketing hats, and there's a lot of synergies. I've been involved in Cadillac for a long time, and marketing and design have to have an intimate relationship. They're looking at solution sets to meet the customer's needs. They're trying to solve it together. So it didn't seem that far of a stretch.
Cadillac's been moving pretty well forward from a design product standpoint. Where do you take it from here?
Well, we're into our second generation CTS. We're launching our second generation SRX. And we've got to grow. We have some great hardware, excellent hardware. And now it's really building awareness. And kind of like we're here today talking to you, it's really about explaining we've got best-in-class cars. We've got, you know, a world-class V-Series that validates the whole CTS chassis. And now we're launching a new two-row crossover, the SRX, in its second generation. And so we have great hardware, but it's really about building awareness, letting people know that Cadillac is a brand they can trust.
GM Design's going to be doing a bunch of design for you. You're going to be cracking the whip over them, getting exactly what you want?
Well, I think the important thing is the relationship. Obviously, I've worked for Ed for years. And obviously I know everybody in product development. And we're all in this together. We are, all the choices we're making, whether we're designing the vehicle or marketing the vehicle, we're either growing the equity or we're impairing it. So we're all in this together, and the fruit's going to come in the end as teamwork.
Bryan Nesbitt is clearly one of Bob Lutz's proteges, and he could have a lot more left for him in his career at General Motors. Hey, don't forget to join us tonight for Autoline After Hours. Our guest for tonight's show is Nancy Gioia, who heads up all electric car and hybrid activity at Ford. We'll be talking about how the grid's going to handle all these plug-ins, about GM's claim of 230 miles per gallon for the Volt and whether that makes any sense, and anything else we can think about on this topic. So join us at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight at AutolineDetroit.tv. And that is it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.